Hello, and welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of September 11th. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
For a weekly episode to talk about parenting in a roundabout way, along with a little pop culture. So, it's back to school week where I am. Is it where you are, Catherine?
Yes, it is.
And for the first time, neither of us actually has kids going to a local school.
That's right.
I still have back to school situations because I live right next to a high school. And so we now cannot get out of our cul-de-sac twice a day. Mm-hmm. And the high school seems to have added something new, which is an extremely loud, automated sort of voice instructing children to do things.
Oh, boy.
I think I caught something about, please change to your next class. And if that's going to be a thing all through the school year, maybe they want to turn it down a little. Do they really need the entire, 1 mile radius of the high school to be able to hear these things?
And do you have windows open?
I do not have windows open, and I have the air conditioner on. And still, I can hear it. I can tell that it's an automated voice. I can tell generally what it's talking about. I can't hear specifically what it's talking about, which is actually the problem I have with TV shows in my very living room a lot of the time.
Right.
But in this case, it's loud enough for me to hear, but not loud enough for me to make sense of it, which is
very annoying.
It's very annoying and really doesn't need to be that loud. Before school started, there was a day when I kept hearing this loud voice, and it seemed to me like it was saying, there is an intruder in the high school, please call 911, or something to that nature. I heard like snippets of that. And I thought, well, clearly they're testing out a system for an emergency.
Right.
Are we supposed to participate in this? Are the neighboring homes supposed to participate? Is this a test to see if anybody will call 911? I didn't know if I should do something because I heard it. And if the school had been full of children and I had heard it, I probably would have called 911.
Right.
But nobody was in the building except whoever is pushing the button for this stupid thing.
Oh, God.
And what the heck?
So
they might want to send out a letter to these surrounding neighborhoods. This is a thing we're going to be doing. If you hear this, we want you to call or not call. Please ignore our loud and intrusive announcements.
Yeah, they really need to have communicated this with the neighbors. I mean, maybe they just have no idea that it's that loud.
Maybe not, but it really is. And I mean, we live very, very close. My backyard borders on the actual front of the school.
Right.
So I guess maybe they have doors open because it's hot. But it's going to be a thing. It's going to be it's going to be annoying all through the school year, or I will just stop hearing it at some point.
Yeah.
But you go with your high-tech school stuff, guys. They also, apparently they can have the loud intercom announcements, but they have not yet figured out how to air condition the building because first 3 days of school, yay, we're going back to school, but they're only half days because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When I was a kid, Catherine, you just went to school when it was hot. You just sweated, and your teacher sweated, and everybody was grouchy, but you went to school.
Right.
Was it that way when you were young?
You carried your books and your old-timey lunch pail and walked
and it
up
was
and
slipping
down
out of your
hill.
hands. Yes. Uphill both ways.
Yes.
Even when it wasn't snowy, it was still uphill both ways.
Right.
And, you just dealt with it. I remember something about frying an egg on a sidewalk my first day of 7th grade when I was wearing my nylon peasant blouse and velour hot pants.
Oh, gosh. Speaking of hot.
That's right. Kids these days.
Yeah. Well,
it's so easy.
Over here, as you might have heard me say, there's a brand new high school was built. Yeah. And then they took the old ginormous high school and turned it into a middle school.
Oh, dear. And what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. So they, as soon as all these plans were announced, everyone was like, the traffic. Oh my God, the traffic. How is it that? Blah, blah, blah. People were totally panicked about the traffic flow, the parking, everything mostly for the high school. But I think there was some concern about the middle school as well.
The high school for which there was inadequate parking designed.
Inadequate,
brand new
yes, for sure.
facility.
Yeah. Which everyone could tell, just by looking at it. And,
Yes.
like when I think I mentioned this, when they had an open house to, show off the school, they had to shuttle people in from remote parking. So anyway, the middle school, so the middle school used to be a high school, right? And so high school, people come and go all day long, right?
Right.
I mean, kids have, free periods, especially first and last periods of the day. Some kids drive themselves, some kids get dropped off, some kids take the bus. There's a whole, but middle school, those kids aren't driving themselves, and they all come at the same time and they all leave at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was apparently a nightmare.
Oh my.
So that I saw, literally after the very first day, the police department's posting on Facebook like, okay, new traffic pattern, everyone. We are not having any left turns here. We are not having any left turns there. Like,
oh no.
Like, oh my gosh, and then apparently the high school too, it was just like, somebody complained, like, it took me 25 minutes to get down to this and this road. And like, apparently one of the main roads that takes you to the high school is closed for construction right now.
Oh no.
Like, people communicate, coordinate,
Really?
Yeah. So
yeah.
Good times that I'm not involved in.
We have a middle school and a high school in pretty close quarters, and the timing of opening is staggered to try to handle the traffic.
Yeah.
But there was, the whole time my kids went to this middle school, the road, pretty much the only way to get there from our direction was they were doing road construction.
Yeah.
But they did it so that one lane was always open. And then they had somebody directing the traffic.
Yeah.
So they could not just close this thing and do the road construction in a timely manner.
No.
They had to leave part of it open or all heck would have broken loose.
Yeah.
So it took 10 years to renovate this bridge because they could only do it one part at a time. I would have thought they would double time it in the summer and get it done.
Yeah.
But no, it was that way for a long time just because, oh my goodness, if that was closed, the disaster that would spread to all surrounding little tiny narrow streets would be prohibitive. So I am so glad I am not in any sort of position to make these decisions because no matter what you do,
you can't win. That's for sure.
You cannot win. No. Things are always going to get screwed up.
Right.
But I much prefer to be the person who sits back and complains.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are we going to sit back and complain about our two TV watches from this week?
Well, we've got a finale to discuss, but first we'll start with Only Murders in the Building. Ghost Light, which did we still not see Meryl Streep in this?
Well, we saw her last week, so we did not see her this week. We have not seen Paul Rudd in quite some time.
No.
And this seems like the episode, which we've discussed in other shows, where they have 9 episodes worth of plot, but an order for 10 episodes. Yeah. So they just had to do something for one episode. They had to vamp.
Yes.
And not that this was unentertaining, but completely superfluous.
Yeah, it really didn't get us anywhere in particular.
Except for, I was entertained by what I am going to call Chekhov's fish, which is that if you put a goldfish in a toilet tank,
yes,
at some point, that fish is going to get flushed. Now, President McKinley heroically survived, but still, from the moment Steve Martin puts him in the toilet tank, you're going, okay, I see where this is going.
Bad idea.
Buddy, I hope you enjoy the sewer.
Yeah.
But he survived. He did not go down.
Yes. And Steve Martin survived. Charles survived being locked in a closet for, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. And we survived being locked into this episode for 45?
Right.
Half an hour, 35? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. They marked time entertainingly, but let's move on, shall we?
Well, what did Oliver say he discovered, an old colleague of his living in the attic of the theater. And he's like, is this the Phantom of the Opera's dorm room? I believe. The guy has like a hibachi back there so he can grill little things on skewers. Hopefully not rats. I don't know.
Yeah, the moment when Oliver starts looking in that room and then a hand goes over his mouth, that did make me jump. That was effective, but to no particular.
Right.
Oh, it's some random guy living in your attic.
Who lives in the attic.
Oh my. Okay.
Yes. I don't know why after, one lovely night and trip on a ferry, Oliver feels like he has to protect Loretta, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I guess because his friend was saying that you should, it's something that his friend there in the attic said made him think that he needs to.
Well, it's like love, if you love someone or something. But
well, I mean, it is Meryl Streep. Come on.
I know. This is true. But
you get a chance.
But it is a little like season 1, the killer turned out to be Charles's love interest.
Right.
And are they going to go to that?
Which is why surely it won't.
Right.
I hope not.
Yeah.
But again, I do think we have 2 prospective culprits. So she could have unsuccessfully poisoned him.
Right.
Maybe. But I don't know. There's still more to her than meets the eye.
Yes.
And also, it does occur to me, though this probably will not be the situation, but somebody could easily have planted that scrapbook in her extremely cluttered apartment.
Mm-hmm.
In a bookcase that slid out from the wall where she would not necessarily have noticed it.
Right.
So that may be a way that they go, whether it's true or not.
Yes. And also,
not like she had a room with posters all over it and an altar and stuff.
Which they've already done in this season with the other guy. So
exactly. So, one little scrapbook hidden in a corner that looks like it's not been looked at for quite some time could possibly exonerate her of that anyway. But since she is a character played by Meryl Streep, I don't think she's single faceted.
Right. Right.
There's going to be stuff. One way or the other, there's going to be stuff.
Right.
He needs to have big scenes toward the end of this.
Yeah, exactly.
She's never just going to go off and do her TV show with her limp.
I get a limp.
Wasn't she great? Remember her from the beginning of the show?
Right.
She had 3 weeks to give us, and we appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
yes. Well, next
maybe
week,
there will be some massive clue in this episode that we are ignoring.
Yeah,
but I can't think of what it would be. The plumbing is bad in the theater. A goldfish will not go down.
Yeah,
is the big hint.
Howard can act if directed by a frustrated wannabe director and not by Oliver.
Yes. And she's a little creepy. What's up with her?
Yeah. That feels very red herring, though.
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
It absolutely does. But she seemed very invested in summoning up a ghost. So, and having Howard embody the ghost, right?
Well, no, she was appeasing the ghost.
Oh, okay.
By having Howard speak to it.
They just thought of the word ghost light and thought that would be a cool title for an episode, and then thought, well, what the heck do we do? There's got to be a ghost.
There's got to be an actual ghost. Nope, it's
and
just a weirdo living in the attic. Well, the ghost light is definitely a theater thing.
Yes. They thought that would be a cool. If you're going to do a mystery story with in a theater, you got to use that title somewhere,
right?
But they didn't so much think through the plot of the episode. But again, probably a massive clue that we were overlooking. And why did Joy take 61 of the goldfish and leave the tank?
Yeah. Because she left the one fish because she didn't like that fish, President McKinley.
I guess. But I would think she would have left it in a bowl from the kitchen and taken the extremely expensive looking aquarium with her.
Of course. But that just doesn't have the visuals that we want.
I guess. Yes. Charles all alone in his apartment and President McKinley all alone in his gigantic aquarium.
Right.
Oh, abandoned, both of them. Charles for good reason. I don't know what President McKinley did.
Yeah, I know. Well, Joy yelled at it in the last episode.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agreed. I don't know
how a goldfish can offend exactly. I am unsure. But it's got 9 lives, this little fishy. So we'll see. Maybe he's the murderer.
That's why Joy was yelling at him.
Yes. Murderous goldfish.
Right. I mean, your thought was that perhaps Roxana was a murderous lizard on the after party.
Honestly, if we're moving on to the after party, I have to say I like my theory better than what they ended up with.
What they came up with. Well, we can certainly move on to it.
Which seems like they just spun a spinner and said, "Oh, lands on Ulysses. Let's backtrack and figure out how it was him."
Right. Yes.
Which apparently there was a scene of him of Edgar picking up the wrong glass that we all should have noticed.
Right.
In Feng's episode, which implies that we have the kind of eyes that can notice those small details in TV shows.
Yes.
Which we do not.
I mean, we should go back and watch. If you actually went back and watched, I don't know if you would see that,
I do not care enough to do so. Yeah. But I would assume that you would see it.
Yeah.
People, I went on Twitter to see how people felt about this episode.
Okay.
And most of the people, most of the people Xing, what do we see now?
Who knows?
Anyway, most of the people tweeting were thrilled with it. And many people were going, I saw it, I noticed it, I knew that's what it was. Some people saying they knew it from the first episode.
So, really?
Yeah. And apparently there is a lively Reddit forum of people trying to guess who done it on the after party, which good for y'all to have found your people.
Right.
And I mean, the creator of the series is aware of it and was mentioning it and hoping that they had figured it out. But okay, fine. They could have come up with anybody and I would have been sure. Why not? But I do wonder, I'm very, very happy for Anik that Zoe's parents gave him their blessing and were very, very grateful to him for getting Grace off. However, he did it in a way that will open their family up to shame because Edgar is supposed to be kind of a high-profile dude, right? It's going to be a story that he was killed in the middle of this thing involving infidelity in this family.
Right.
Maybe they wouldn't be so thrilled about that. I mean, I guess he prevented Feng from having his life, threatened again, but still, it's going to be a rough patch for them.
Right.
Will it not?
Yeah.
Vivian's story is going to get broadcast, one would think, unless Ulysses just confesses and silently goes off to jail.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it seems like a sort of a sensational story that perhaps they would like to avoid if they're trying to keep a business afloat, although these days that might make their business.
Yeah.
Then.
Good question. Good point.
So that just seemed odd to me.
I also thought it was a sort of kind of ridiculous amount of time spent on the proposal scenes.
Yes.
Yes.
And now Grace is still going to be hooked into this family.
Right. Because she's still with the
Isabel
sister.
is still going to be her mother-in-law.
Right.
Maybe she wants to just go meet somebody new. And plus which, absolutely nobody is mourning this man who was killed accidentally.
Right.
Just as part of somebody else's torrid story. Everybody's, yay! Grace is
figured it out.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's just like he's not been dead for 24 hours, right? Nobody is sad.
Also, did Roxana drink whiskey?
Yes, they showed him giving her a little swig.
Oh, okay.
At least in this episode, whether it was in the previous episode or not. He took a drink of it and then he gave her a little taste.
Okay.
Which, should lizards be drinking? That's a whole other question.
Good question.
But
I feel like one sip would have killed her in like 10 seconds.
You would think.
Because she's a tiny little thing.
She is. She had to hallucinate first, I guess.
That's true. Oh my gosh.
But I mean, depending on whose story you were listening to, maybe he was a bad guy and we should not mourn him. But in most people's stories, he was just kind of a mild oddball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hannah didn't feel like he was diabolical. She has no sadness for her brother.
Right.
And I mean, Isabel may be relieved that he's gone if he was gaslighting her, and Sebastian has no love for her. But it just seemed like he was completely forgotten.
Yeah.
And he wasn't killed for cause. He was just an accidental victim.
Right.
As was Roxana, an accidental victim.
Right.
So it was unsatisfying in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, wow. Let's all celebrate now that a guy is dead, but none of us did it.
And also, like, what was the point? I mean, I guess just misdirect like everything else, but, for Isabel to give her whole story and say that, she switched the cake and that she killed him by accident, and then just turn around and say, oh no, that Grace did it.
Well, because they figured out that it had that he hallucinated. The timing wasn't right for it to have been the cake.
Mm-hmm.
If it was the devil's trumpet that was in it.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 something.
I mean, I guess just to maybe that the whole point of that story was to make Edgar look bad so you wouldn't feel sorry for him.
I guess. But do we trust her point?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
It just seemed like somebody might have. They haven't had the funeral yet. Are they all going to be off having their happy lives and even bury this guy?
Good question.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just very weird.
Yes.
And so much celebration despite over the victim's dead body.
Right.
Oh well. It was very entertaining. I don't know that it works as a mystery, but it was very entertaining. Mm-hmm. And the last little bit of the movie of the first version of the first episode, or the
first
movie
season.
version of the first season,
right?
With movie stars in the place.
Yes.
It was Keke Palmer as Danner and Elijah Wood as Jasper and Gemma Chan, I guess, as Zoe, and Jaleel White as Nick.
Which was a great payoff to that happening all throughout.
Yes. Who apparently Danner is engaged to.
Right.
So.
And who, of course, looks absolutely nothing like Sam Richards.
No. Nor does Elijah Wood look at all like
Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz. A significant height difference, if nothing else.
Right.
But still funny.
Yes.
Really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's a come on for season 3.
Right.
The after party of the filming or something like that.
Of the premiere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch.
Yeah.
But I would not expect it to be a satisfying mystery.
Yeah.
It does really feel like they present all of these and they just throw some dice to decide who actually did it.
Right.
But, okay.
And they also kind of, in this one, they almost threw out the, like, we're doing different film genres thing. They had...
Yeah.
They had Vivian, like, one or two flashbacks where it was, like... Vaseline lens, like
yes, soap opera. I think it was supposed to be.
But that was pretty much it,
Yeah, and then Zoe had a little tiny horror movie.
Yes,
thing with the dog. Have we seen that dog before?
Yeah, he's been on. Remember,
there was in recent episodes.
I don't think so, but remember towards the beginning, Isabel was like telling Anik to just kick it. Oh. And he did. And then, like, Sebastian walked in the room, like, did you just kick that dog? And he's like, well, she told me to,
Oh, that first excruciating episode.
Yes.
Where Anik was a bumbling fool.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one.
I would prefer not to remember that one.
Right.
So good.
Yes.
That's where we saw the dog.
Yep.
Anyway, 2 questions about the Ulysses thing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, didn't he use something from that horn to make the Dutch babies? He supposedly used milk from that or whatever thing he had in there.
He said he did, but...
Did he not really? So clearly he didn't really. Yeah. And also, would gin not mess it up evidence-wise?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, have we been concerned with have we been concerned with evidence at all?
This show hinges on people confessing.
Yes.
Like 95% of detective shows.
Right.
We were watching some Murder, She Wrote the other day, and it's like, if people would just keep their mouth shut, they'd stay out a lot of trouble.
Sure would.
Prove it.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh well. Another season.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly enjoyable.
Quite entertaining.
Worth it if only for the Wes Anderson episode.
Yes. Delightful.
That gave me sufficient joy for all 10 of them. But the other ones were entertaining too.
Yes.
So, good for them.
Yeah.
And interested to see what happens next with that series.
Right.
If it comes back again. I am sure it will come back again. I didn't feel like it was getting very much attention, but a lot of people on Twitter are very invested in it. So,
and Reddit, apparently.
Yeah. Grace's old boyfriend making money because he told his Reddit friends to pounce on this cryptocurrency was maybe a little shout out.
Yeah. That was fun. And yes, satisfying. I do know how to pronounce.
He became the house.
That's right.
So good for him.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say somewhere that they knew it was Ulysses because he was the only one who was sort of superfluous and didn't really belong there. But I think the boyfriend, even more so. Can you see Grace dating that guy?
No.
That doesn't make sense. And why would she invite him? And why would he go?
Yeah.
And
why would he go is because he's still,
Yes, right. And she had a coded message.
Yes.
On the invitation.
And I think why would he stay? Because, he thinks he wants to be part of the.
That's true. That's true.
Everything. So.
Poor Edgar. Ulysses was only there because he went specifically and got him.
That's right.
And gave him incentive to come.
Right.
And then he gets accidentally killed for his trouble.
Yep.
Oh, well, let this be a lesson. Do not fly to far-off places to get your fiancé's Funkle to come to your wedding.
You will.
So I'll take that as an advisory.
Regret it.
But Grace, not mourning at all. Moving right on.
No, because she, as Zoe correctly figured out, she wasn't really into marrying Edgar. She was into his sister, so.
But she did, in fact, marry Edgar.
She did.
And seems not at all sad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes. Well.
In her story, he was not a bad dude.
No, he wasn't.
No. So, it's very weird.
Well.
But anyway.
So what
are we going to do now that the after party is done? We have another Only Murders in the Building for next week.
We do. It is called Cobro. So I
am guessing we're going to see Paul Rudd again. Maybe in flashbacks and bits of televised content, but still.
Oh yeah, we'll probably get his frosted tips again. So,
yes.
So we'll do that, and then we will watch a movie, as we like to do sometimes when we're between series. So the movie Theater Camp just came out earlier this summer, and it is going to be streaming on Hulu in a few days. And I quote from Google, I don't know where Google got this. Eccentric staff members of an upstate New York theater camp must band together when their beloved founder falls into a coma. So it's a mockumentary style.
Oh, really?
Deal.
Okay.
So
sounds entertaining.
So we're going to check that out. It's going to be an all Hulu, only Hulu on the podcast episode next week.
So, the last couple of Catherine's Library Find of the Weeks have been off-putting, yes. I would say. Yes. Do you have something genteel for us this week, Catherine, or should I go start saying, la, 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 I can't hear you?
Well, I'm going to switch to adult nonfiction now, and just...
I'm looking at the Earl for this.
I know.
And I'm a little concerned.
Yeah,
I think you're still...
we're going to...
On a dangerous, dangerous path, lady.
We're going to get past this quickly.
What kind of library are you working in?
So one new book that just came out is called 100 Animals That Can Effing End You. So last time the animals
But this one's for adults, so it's not weird, right?
Last time the animals were fighting each other. This time I guess the animals might be attacking your person. But yeah, this is for adults, and apparently it came out of a TikTok.
I think this is where I turn down my volume and let you talk to the nice people, Catherine.
No, but that's not really
Send me a little message on Zoom when you're ready, when you're not talking about death by animal.
No, that's it. We're done with that. We're moving on. That was just a little. You just
wanted to plant that in my brain.
A little sidebar.
There's 100.
I'm sure they all are in like Australia. So I don't think they're in New Jersey. Really?
Is the spotted lanternfly among them? Because they're back.
Yes,
they're back.
They are back, but they can't kill you.
With a vengeance.
They cannot.
They will not kill you. They will just they turn my husband into a homicidal maniac. Every time we go for a walk, he's like, "Stop! Stop! Get it!" The state of New Jersey has empowered him to kill every spotted lanternfly he can find.
That's right, and he takes that seriously.
He relishes it.
Yes.
Yes, he does. What does that say? I don't want to think about it. So what else you got?
So this I just thought was very amusing. A new book called Empire of the Sum, The Rise and Reign of the Pocket Calculator.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to go get that on Audible today.
And the best part is that I found it because somebody put it on hold, and it is a short loan, which means like multiple people have it on hold.
Oh my gosh, that is delightful.
Yeah. To quote from the publisher's site, the hidden history of the pocket calculator, a device that ushered in modern mathematics, helped build the atomic bomb, and went with us to the moon, and the mathematicians, designers, and inventors who brought it to life.
Oh my gosh.
By an author named Keith Houston, who has also written a book called Shady Characters, The Secret Life of Punctuation, Symbols, and Other Typographical Marks.
I love that stuff.
You might want that one first.
That's delightful. I might, especially since it doesn't look like there's an audiobook version of Empire of the Sum. Tragically.
Yeah.
There are so many other stupid books that have audiobooks, but not that one. What was the other one called?
It's called Shady Characters.
As a service to you, Audible using listeners, I will let you know if you can go grab this right now. Shady Characters. That's delightful.
By Keith Houston.
Keith Houston, get audiobooks of your stuff, man.
No,
I'll record them for you. Send them over.
Don't have that one either?
Nope.
Oh, boo.
Not that one either. But I shall look for both of those. Those sound so fun. Right up my alley. I like those. I like quirky nonfiction.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I just thought that was fun.
Fun. That is pocket calculator. Do people still use pocket calculators? Have they gone the way of the plug-in phone?
Yeah, I mean, you have a calculator on your phone.
Use your phone now. Or you can just ask Siri to add things for you.
I mean, my kids still had to use like the graphing calculator, the more serious calculators in school, but that's not really a pocket calculator, I would say.
Man, I remember when those things started and what a miracle they were. Yeah,
because then you could type naughty words on them.
That's right. How fun.
And remember when there were watches, wristwatch with a tiny calculator on it? Like that was very important for you to be able to have on your person
This
at
is
all
what
times.
we remember about them. Not that it enabled us to add very quickly without having to do it in our heads or on paper. But you could make a word.
Well,
I remember that too.
Yes.
I love it when people just get it in their heads to write a book about some thing.
Exactly.
I have one on my wish list now about watchmakers. How people started making watches and all the different things.
Right.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It's my jam, folks. If you know about quirky nonfiction involving people who are passionate about a mundane object, just tweet me about it.
Okay. Well, and I'll be
Admonitude.
I'll be on the lookout at the library for you.
Yeah. That's anytime you see something like that, let me know.
Okay.
I dig those.
Well, now shall we take a spin through our archives and see what we were talking about 2 years ago, 4 years ago, and 6 years ago this week. And this will probably not come as a surprise to you. We can complain about a lot of different topics.
Oh, of course we can.
So 2 years ago, it was toys. We were happy that our kids were never into slime, that they, that they missed that piece of, kid culture. And I mean, but of course we found other things that we would want to complain about. I don't know. Has anything in the past 2 years, has there been things that have come out besides slime that are
for
annoying
kids or
toys?
for older kids?
Well, at any age, I'm trying to.
My kids are not into video games, or else that would be something.
Yeah.
My daughter has, this is not necessarily an annoying thing, but my daughter has discovered soap operas at the age of 33.
Oh, wow.
And it's a novelty to her. And
like new ones or reruns?
No, General Hospital. She's watching General Hospital.
It's still on.
It's still on. I think it may be one of the few that's still on.
Okay.
I think it's actually on the network and not just streaming.
Mm-hmm.
But, and she's all thrilled with this thing. Oh, I'm watching this thing. It's so cool. And every day there's an episode. I'm like, honey, I was watching General Hospital in college in 1977.
Right.
I started asking her, are any of these last names still in the show? Because, the families generally persevere.
Right.
So there are still Quartermains, apparently, but I don't know about others.
Right.
Do they still mention Luke and Laura and the disco? And yeah, I have a long, rich history with soap operas, but I did not pass it on to my daughter. She discovered it all on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And that apparently, she's finally figured out, is where she got, that was not my intention.
Oh.
So, picking up phrases. That is a very soap opera phrase.
Yes.
You cheated with my boyfriend and you did this and you did that and you made me feel this way. That was not my intention. What was your intention? Anyway.
Yeah.
So, digression. But I'm fine with her watching it. It doesn't bother me. It makes me laugh because I grew up watching soap operas with my mom. So It's a family tradition.
Yeah. I would watch with my grandmother sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I think my daughter watched with her grandmother when her grandmother was living in our house.
Yeah.
But it was a different soap opera. I think it was Days of Our Lives.
Mm-hmm.
But we were a CBS house when I was growing up, as the world turns.
Mm.
And then when I went off to college, I went for the ABC soaps.
Mm-hmm.
One Life to Live, General Hospital. And what was the other one? All My Children.
All My Children's the only one I ever watched.
Yeah. So, but they're almost down to nothing now, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm surprised General Hospital's still on.
I was too when she was mentioning it.
Right.
But, just
still
keeps on keeping on.
Still some kind of audience for it. So.
And new people discovering it all the time, apparently.
Yes.
I have 15 hours of soap opera on my DVR. I have to watch them all right now.
Yes.
But I don't know about toys or playthings or amusements.
Yeah.
Particularly.
The other
Uno continues to be an operational item in our house. My son will just sit and play Uno with himself for hours, and it has a very complicated series of piles on the table.
Right.
That
don't touch
must
them.
not be disrupted.
Yes.
But I'm happy for him to have something that gets him out of his room. So
that's right. He can't.
Dining room table is the place.
Yeah, he can't play Uno by himself.
He has no table. He needs a table.
Ah, he needs a table. I see.
Or every Saturday he plays Zoom Uno with our friend. And
that's impressive that they've figured out how to do that.
That game has rules that I do not understand.
Yeah.
It's not conventional Uno.
No, I figured.
A means of Uno known only to them.
Right. And they each have a
involves
deck.
Hundreds of cards.
Yeah.
Multiple decks,
Okay.
I think. Yeah. So
Interesting.
that's been a fun plaything adaptation.
Yeah.
That happened with COVID because our friends used to come here every weekend.
Right.
And they would play. And then when COVID forbade that, now they do it through Zoom.
Right. And they still do.
And we were also complaining about financial challenges that come out of nowhere. The randomly busted appliance, the unexpected car accident, the children putting the thermostat up to an inappropriate level.
Right.
And the power bill being unexpectedly high. Do we still have kids doing stuff like that? We've been the last unexpected expense we had was when we had to replace our car.
Yeah.
And I felt pretty good about that. I felt like we got a pretty good deal on the car we got. And then I made the unforgivable rookie mistake of agreeing to buy a service package. Do not. It never is what you think it is. I thought it would take care of all servicing for a period of time.
Yeah.
And that's what I was paying for.
Right.
However, I'm pretty sure that's what the salesman said. However, first time we take it in for service and they charge us, I look at the thing and no, that's not what it means. It means very specific, certain things that may need to be replaced. Maybe we'll decide to give them to you for free, but maybe not. Very vague language. So, and I knew it. I never get the warranty when I buy something.
Right.
I feel like it's a scam. And yet I just was in such a euphoria of buying an expensive item that I just said, oh, sure. Yeah. What else you got? You know? And so I think the salesman was misleading at the most charitable interpretation, but I can't get him on the phone. Go figure.
Oh.
So I have just written that money off.
Right.
And that is money I resent.
Yeah.
But that was also my mistake.
Right.
I knew better. I really did.
But you also were
sometimes you
misled.
Want to please the people who are selling you things. Why is that?
Right.
Why do you want them to like you? And so you buy something that you know you shouldn't.
Yeah.
That is a thing, right? Is that a thing only amongst women?
Well, it's probably more so. But yeah. I think that definitely happens. And I think, salespeople
know
how to take advantage of
the
that.
Sales girl. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sure they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's frustrating. We also did buy a car, to accommodate the newish driver.
Right.
But that was planned, get him taking 2 extra years to get his license meant that we had 2 extra years of saving up for that.
So, how thoughtful of him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just had to have a small discussion with him yesterday about okay, remember how we bought the premium, unlimited dining package for school? That means eat all your meals in the cafeteria.
Yes.
Don't be going anywhere else because we paid for this. And also we used our savings, our college savings for it. So that's free money at this point because we saved it before.
That is one of those things. I hope that works out better than our car warranty.
Yeah.
Because kid's going to want to go get pizza.
Yeah. I mean, and which is fine, but also he doesn't have a job and he didn't have a summer job and he, so any money that he's spending is from he did have a week-long summer job. So that doesn't buy that many pizzas. So.
That's true. That is a hopeful thing.
Yeah.
But, oh man. Yeah. Cause you feel like you got to get the most expensive package because you want them to eat. And on the other hand, that means they got to eat.
Right.
For you to get money.
Well, I just don't want that money's already spent. Use it. Don't spend the additional money from the different bucket,
Yes. I think I may have had that conversation with my parents my freshman year of school. Why are you spending money on food? We spent money on food.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, good luck with that.
Yes. And then the last thing we complained about or discussed 6 years ago was the worst physical pain you've ever felt. I don't know if it's changed for you since your various surgeries and health.
I'm pretty good, thanks. Don't want to jinx myself.
Right.
But the surgery I had was pretty painless and kind of ridiculously easy recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So, gosh, I feel like I'm cursing myself by saying that, but thank you, God.
Right.
Blessed recovery. I still have my neck itches, but it doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole different thing.
Right.
And I don't remember if this had happened before we recorded this thing, but I had a tooth pulled that I had put off for like
years.
A decade because I didn't want to do it. And then when I did it, it was so quick and so stupidly easy that I'm like, well, what kind of idiot am I to have waited so long to do this? It was nothing. I was just bracing for it. And the guy puts the tooth in front of my face and says, see, here it is. And I was like, wait, what?
You just did it.
So far, so good.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you haven't had a recurrence of the thing that you were talking about on that episode.
The weeks long migraine. Yes, that's pretty good. And I think Nicole was talking about unmedicated childbirth, so that hasn't happened again.
Things that make me glad to have adopted.
Yeah.
So anything?
I mean, I had to recover from a couple of C-sections. That's not nothing.
Not fun. But so have you had any other sources of pain other than psychic and emotional?
Yeah, emotional.
Any physical pain?
Nothing was like having that terrible migraine. Although and one sort of along the lines of spending money unnecessarily. So, the way I finally dealt with that migraine was I finally got in to see a neurologist who helped, figure it out and get me the meds I need to deal with the one I had and to deal with future ones as well. Mm-hmm. So every year I have to go back to this neurologist and, he says, how's everything going? And I say, fine. And he says, okay, great. And he renews my prescriptions. And in the last few years, because of the insurance we've had, it's been costing a ridiculous sum for the copay. Oh, gosh. Like over $100 for the copay. The copay.
God.
Like, what are we doing here? And so, but I paid it for like 2 or 3, 4 years, whatever. And like I said, it's literally just for him to say, how's everything going? And for me to say, fine.
Yeah. That's like psychiatrists.
And so, but that my last appointment, he finally said, well, your GP, your family doctor could write these prescriptions for you. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay, well, so I have a physical in a couple weeks, and guess what? It's free, and I'll be able to get my prescription.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, like it took years for him to be like, "Oh, you could just go to your regular doctor."
You'd think that they would know and suggest that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just don't because billing is not their, department.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
But
we've been really, really lucky with things being covered. And also the people at our medical practice will often say, I'm going to prescribe you this one because most insurance plans take it.
Yeah.
Or, we're coding this as such and such, so your insurance will pay for it. Do not see it and panic.
Right.
So, but I probably will be going on to Medicare next June. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, is this just going to uproot everything? And is stuff not going to be covered? And am I going to have to go to different doctors? And I have such a nice person at my husband's insurance from his job who helps me all the time.
Right.
And I don't think there's going to be anybody like that at Medicare. I think I'm going to be on hold for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm like bracing for that, which will be its own kind of pain.
Yeah.
But
It's also so complicated. Like,
yes,
you need these different parts and
right.
Like,
I'm going to have to go to somebody to help me. So when my husband went on it, he still has it from his work. So it was sort of like, well, people said you have to sign up for this or it's going to be more expensive later. So we did, and we've been paying for it, but probably unnecessarily. But for me, when it comes to me, if he wants to retire, that's going to be my insurance.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be his insurance.
Right.
And it's going to matter because I have all these weird things like the eye shots and the,
yeah,
lots and lots of specialists.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just bracing. This health insurance that he has through his union, the union has a health insurance wing that handles the stuff.
Wow.
And this woman I interact with, I originally, I asked a question on Twitter and she responded. And ever since, anytime I have a question, I message her on Twitter and she responds, and she either solves the problem for me or gives me the email address or the direct phone number of somebody who can. It's delightful.
Yeah.
And recently she messaged me and said, hey, I know you contact me on Twitter all the time. We're no longer going to be on Twitter, but we're on Facebook, and here's my direct email and here's my direct phone number. And it's like, she's so sweet.
That's amazing.
I don't know if she's like an AI and just very good at imitating a human, or if there's a bunch of ladies doing this and they all just call themselves Laura to be
right.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's one lady, and God bless her.
Yeah,
I love her so
she
much.
sounds
I don't want to
amazing.
give her up. Could she go to work for
Medicare?
Could she just be my liaison for that, please? I'll pay her. But I'm going to miss that.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss that private insurance, man.
Right.
Pays for my stupid, ridiculously expensive eye shots, which are not necessarily painful, but not a walk in the park.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true. I don't think you had those back in 6 years ago when we talked.
The painful part is looking at the explanation of benefits and seeing how much they charge for those shots. Oh my gosh, every 4 to 6 weeks.
But you need to see.
What a racket. Yes. I need to see. I do need to see. And fortunately, thank you, insurance, I don't have to pay that thousands and thousands of dollars per jab. But wow, somebody is making a significant amount of money on those. I hope it's my doctor. He seems like a nice young man.
Somehow I don't think it's him.
Probably the pharmaceutical company is making them.
Yep.
So
that's my guess.
I'm giving them really stupid names because the first thing I was getting was Ilea. And now I have switched to Vabismo. Some poor slob in a cubicle was just brainstorming every possible combination of syllables and came up with Vabismo.
Right.
I feel for you, man. Oh, well. Our listeners now, the greatest pain they've ever felt is still listening to this podcast, which just goes on and on and on. So let me put you out of your misery, y'all. That's it for the Parenting Roundabout Weekly Roundup. You can find all our episodes on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. You can also talk to us on our Facebook page, on Instagram, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat. And please visit our Amazon shop at amazon.com/shop/mamitude, where you can find links to a lot of the things we've talked about over the years. We'll see you back here next Tuesday. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.